That's where we've segmented our member database to figure out what their next best action might be. So in the case here of Toro, we've decided you need to put a little bit more in your pension. And it will take them to a way to do that on the website. They probably won't do that as they are sitting on the train, tram, wherever they are, accessing that mobile device. We know that. We know they probably won't do it at that time. But what we are also allowed to do in Australia, which is not really allowed in the US, and I'm not sure about the laws on the continent here, but we can digitally stalk them in a way that's a lot less creepy than what it sounds. But we know that after they've accessed their mobile device straight after work, they'll usually go home, make themselves some dinner, dial something, and sit on the couch, and while they're watching TV, they'll have a device again in front of them. Because, I don't know why, one's not enough. And we know that they often access their social media at that time, and we can reserve and add to them whilst they are accessing their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We haven't gone on to Tinder yet. We're thinking about it. But I'm a bit worried about which way we'll be swiped. But that's how we can remind them that they thought about their pension earlier in the day, and they thought about how they needed to take the next best action. And now it's back in front of them again. We know that if you take action, you're more engaged. If you're more engaged, you're more likely to have a better outcome in your retirement. And bite-sized pieces are the way to get people engaged with their pension, we have found. And so we do things like take them to a risk profiler, because maybe they need to dial up their risk in their asset allocation. They can do that in Australia. You can choose from different pools. If they're young enough and they've got a 40-year investment horizon, they should really be taking some risks potentially on their assets, if they're okay with it. We take them, as you can see there, to contribution, and we can take them to decide on their insurance. And as you can see, it's all done in a very young, friendly-looking way. The other recent initiative that we have embarked upon is using social media not only to reserve ads to people when we know that they're accessing social media, but to find other people like those people. So we were the first pension fund, we understand, worldwide to use the Google, not that, next one down, it's gone. Anyway, it's a Facebook thing. Oh, there we go. Stop. Anyway, we were the first pension fund to use a Facebook lookalike community. And what this means is that we know who accesses us through Facebook, and then we ask Facebook to find other people like them. So as you can imagine, we're in a competitive environment for members. And I work for HESTA, which is the Health Employees Superannuation Trust. So that means we want more members that fit that profile. And we can actually find them through Facebook. That's getting creepy now. It saves a lot of time because we used to go through people's rubbish. Well, we can now find them through Facebook, through their digital footprint. So we know, let's say that nurse, she's gone home, she's now updated her Facebook, she's maybe been served another ad through HESTA. If she clicks on that ad, we start to understand her digital footprint, and we want to know whether her friends are also in nursing. And that's what we're able to do now. A very, very cheap and effective acquisition method. So they were really the details I wanted to talk about today, but there's much more being done, and I'll hand over now and take some questions later.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Mary. Very clear presentation. Now, I want to ask Chinenye to talk about how understanding the new normal in Africa, okay, and the implications and challenges of technology. Please.
working? Okay. Just a second. I have to pray over this. Just make sure it works right. All right. So, thank you very much. And my job isn't to talk so much about the technology as much as it is to bring it home, to the situation that we're in. And don't be scared. I know you're scared about where we are now. But I think there's a bigger story around where we're going to, and it's extremely important that we key into that. So this picture is up here. I decided to do this visually rather than have a lot of text. So the picture is up there. I think this is supposed to show. If I do that, right? Okay. So I'm not sure that's really clear, but you can see a tiny little line that runs around Africa. It has little spokes that go into the continent. That's the cable called SAT-3. It's a submarine cable that was carrying all the internet connectivity in Africa around 2001. And it was about 40 gig in capacity. So all the football matches we were watching, all the telephony, all the banking information, the SWIFT transfers, everything was running through this pipe. And it was 40 gig in 2001. The implication, I mean, you can't really see the text, but the bubbles on the right-hand side represent the cloud economy. The big yellow one, the big blue one, of course, is the cloud economy. Now, all the other ones represent different clusters of demographics that are part or not a part of the cloud economy. The cloud being everyone who is connected to the system and can actually use this facility. So over on the extreme left in the orange is the digitally illiterate, those who can't use computers, have no access. The others are the rural. The next bubble to it speaks about the rural economy, and those are people who are not in the cities. On the red side is the educated but unemployed, because they didn't have money to access these systems. They were educated, could have used the technology, but couldn't because they didn't have access, didn't have money to pay for that. Then you've got the light blue one that's inside the cloud itself, and that represents the formal economy, right? People in this room and people who you're connected to. The green bubble represents those who are the informal, invisible economy, which in a country like Nigeria has been measured at almost 80% of the economy, if not more. I remember once, about a decade ago, the central bank said that only 1 naira, only 10 kobo out of every 1 naira is actually in the banking system. And with that huge gap, this was a very, very big bubble. So literally, you can't be talking about technology with respect to the end user markets with this kind of situation. Unfortunately, that changed. This situation persisted for 10 years. And then suddenly, in the year 2010, we had this. So all the lines that you see across Africa represent different forms of telecommunications. There's Glo 1, there's Glo 1, there's Main 1, there's the SA cable, there's the wax cable. What this literally means is that our continent, in 10 years, after 10 years of stagnation, in 4 years, has created the basic infrastructure required for us to transit into a digital economy. And by implication, what you see on the right in terms of the bubble means that those demographics that were excluded in the slides just before are now part of the story. So this is how it was before, and this is now what it's like today. So it means that there's going to be, or there has been, a massive movement of people out of what we could call the analog world into a digital economy, and this is real. So when we speak about 85 million people having cell phones in Nigeria, or digital penetration across Africa via phones coming to the level of 60–70%, this is exactly what it means. The implication of this by way of numbers is also frightening, but it also represents a huge opportunity. So we have built systems that have always been structured to carry an analog economy. Today, we have this. So when we speak about the surge, we're talking about literally hundreds of millions of people suddenly, in the space of 4 years, able to access the services that you provide. And not just able to, they're demanding those services. Because a number of implications derive from this picture that we have here. First of all, the cloud itself is no longer the preserve of the educated elites who live in the cities. The cloud is available through any device. And those devices are increasingly dropping in terms of the costs. So we used to buy devices at $1,000. Today, you can easily